Hello everyone. It's nice to have you listening to this presentation today. I will talk about motivators in disruptive change, and I will talk about the Reiss approach. I will in a short while introduce myself to you, but first of all I would like to give you a question to reflect on. So you will have 20 seconds and think about what motivates you and what makes you happy. Okay, so try to keep that answer in the back of your head while I present the motivation theory here in the model. You can do that, right?
Yes.
Good. So my name is Petra Laurell, and I will say a few things about myself that I think that you expect to know about me. For the first, I have a degree in economics and business administrations, and I've been working in finance and as a CFO for a couple of years. I have taken some education in the coaching area, such as the HRV coaching, it's heart rate variability. I'm also an ICF accredited coach on ACC level, and RMP, which we are going to talk about today, is Reiss Motivation Profile Coach. I'm also an educated team coach and work a lot with team coaching and group development. And a lot of my thoughts are spinning around leadership. It's my biggest interest, and especially in youth ice hockey. What I would like to say to you about myself is this: what motivates me, what makes me happy. So the first thing is social contacts. It's the absolutely number one for me, gives me the most energy and motivates me the most. So it's a need to socialize with people. Next is my family, and it's about raising and taking care of my children. It's not about loving, it's about raising them, actually. We also have idealism, and that means that it makes me happy to contribute to make the world a slightly better place, working with social justice. And we add a little portion of curiosity, the need to actually to do the analytical thinking process. That gives me a lot. So that's who I am. And here you can see me on a hockey game with my family. That's my best surrounding. So 2 years ago, I wrote a book, and the title translated to English would be kind of Feeling for Leadership in Disruptive Changes. When I wrote that book, I was having a starting point from disruptive technologies. Today, we speak more about digitalization, and what happens in this process is you get new technology demands, new business models, and new strategies. And very often you stand in front of reorganizations, which means huge changes for people in the organizations. And how do we meet people in these disruptive changes? When I wrote the book, I created the concept of loving leadership. Loving leadership is about having good intentions, wanting to do good for people. Loving leadership is about having focus on strengths and raising the potential with people. And last, loving leadership is about creating safety. I don't know if you've heard about Google's 2-year study on high-performing teams, where they found out that the high-performing teams are safe teams. So safety is very important. 1 year ago, I came across a very concrete tool that goes very well with the loving leadership. It actually helps me to have these good intentions and focus on strengths and to create safety by guiding me how to do that with different people. So this tool is the Reiss Motivation Profile. It's founded by the Professor Stephen Reiss, and he found out that there are some basic desires that occur automatically, that motivates all your actions, that shows your deepest values, shows what you need for value-based happiness, and they occur with varying degrees of self-awareness. He had 3 basic ideas. The first is that there are 16 basic desires. He found out that everyone in the world has these 16 desires, more or less. And the question is, what is the intention of your actions? Second, he found out that the intensity of motivation is crucial. It means that you look at the motivators and you can find them from weak to strong and anywhere in between there. They are stable over time and they are always present. And he found that we always think that our values are the best, and he calls that self-hugging. And I guess you know that people are not necessarily self-aware of their values. So it's helpful to actually find out and show people to make them being more conscious. You do not choose your intrinsic values. They occur automatically. They are there from the day you are born, and they are formed during your 14 first years of life, and then they will stay the same. If you are not exposed to some major change in your life, then you can reprioritize your motivators. And last, the values include quantity, and that's important. It's not just about what you want, it's also about how much you want it. So I will guide you through these motives. I will just touch them briefly and tell you all about the 16 ones. Very quick. So are you ready? Here we go.
Yes.
So we will start with the first one, and it's power. It's about the desire to influence and to decide. It's about being motivated by achieving things, being ambitious, and to manage people. Independence, it's about the desire of self-reliance, to not being dependent on other people, but to be your own, decide for yourself. A person who has a strong desire for self-reliance will not fit in a surrounding with you where you take decisions in consensus. Curiosity is a desire for knowledge and thinking, and whether you have a strong or a weak need for curiosity, you will, of course, think. It's not about that. It's about when you have the strong desire, you will enjoy the process of thinking, of an analytical thinking, and you will strive to find new areas to learn more about. And if you have the weak desire for knowledge, you can still gather information and find knowledge, but you will do it when you need it, more for practical reasons. We have acceptance. It's about the need to be socially accepted. This is a very important one. This is my mission to tell the world about this motive. When you have this need to be socially accepted, you have this strong desire, you actually will not be able to take constructive feedback. And we say constructive feedback, but actually we mean negative, right? Yeah. And they will not be able to cope with that. It hurts too much. And when you are a person who has a weak need to be socially accepted, probably it would be very difficult for you to really understand how much it can hurt for these other persons to have this kind of feedback. And you will think that, oh, they can always learn, they can develop and be better. They will not. No. So when I realized this, it was such a relief for me, because I always thought that, first of all, I couldn't take this constructive feedback. It just hurt. And second, I felt bad because I couldn't develop the capability of doing it. So it was like double. And now I found out that this is just the way it is, and I can't do anything about it. And some of you will say, so isn't it good to develop and be better at this? No, I will develop other things, not just this particular one. So disorder is the desire for organization is the next motive. It's about the urge to have processes and methods and structure, and you love details. We have saving is a desire to collect things and money, and you can save things even if you have a weak desire to do it, but then you do it for another reason. It could be that you save money because you want to go on a trip, or you save things because you want to honor your grandparents or something, and those are other motives. But when you have the strong desire for saving, you will save things and money just for the sake of saving. Honor is a desire for an upright character. It's about loyalty. It's about honoring the traditions and the old the parents and if you have a weak desire for honor, you can still be loyal, but then you will be loyal for a reason. If you have a strong desire for honor, you will be loyal because it's important for you to be loyal. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Then we have idealism, the desire for social justice. And it's about, as I said when I was talking about myself, the need to actually make the world a better place, or the need to help people. And if you have a weak desire for social justice, you are not like a cold person without a heart. It's not about that. It's just that you think that people are capable to taking care of themselves. So you will not make an effort to do that for them, because maybe you actually think that it will be worse if you don't let them take care of themselves. So just different approaches. Social contact, about companionship, and you have a need for a lot of energy, humor, positivity, joy, maybe a high tempo here. Beauty, the desire for beauty, and it could be beautiful surroundings, it could be beautiful people, it could be taking care of your own looks if it's important for you. It could be art or decoration in your home or anything. And this is, I think this is funny, because when you clean up your home, if you like, if you fix the cushions in the sofa so they look good, maybe someone think that's about order, but it's not. It's about beauty, because it's about how it looks. Because if you have the desire for order, the motive we talked about before, then you will vacuum under the sofa to take away all the dust, and you want it to be clean and feel fresh. So some people clean their home for the sake of order, and others for the sake of beauty. Ensemble. Then you will have a very clean home. Family, it's about raising your own children. It could be your siblings, and it could be other children as well. There are people who just loves babies. When they come, you are one? Yes, so am I. So when you come into a room and there's a baby, that's the only thing that matters. You will always find those people around babies. Yeah. And so, for example, my husband, he has a low desire on family. That does not mean that he doesn't love our children. He does. But he didn't get our children because he wanted to raise them and to take care of them. But I do. So you can have children for many different reasons. So status is a desire for social standing, and here you will have nice cars and suit and tie, and you will be happy if you have the closest and best parking spot and the nicest office and nice business card, things like that. Living the right neighborhood, maybe. Vengeance and winning. Here are the people who has a desire to win and get even. It's easy to understand what about to win, but this about getting even. It's about when someone has done something to you, something bad, you actually want to get back, because it's about win. It's kind of a conflict, and when you get back to the person, you will get even, and then you like win. Eating, the desire to consume food, and I would say it's not only consuming, it's about thinking about food, cooking food, planning for eating food, and actually eating the food.
Throwing food, making it so.
Yeah. So and some people think that why do we talk about a motive like eating when we are in a business? It's very important, because when you are in a meeting with 10 people and a few of them say that oh, let's just skip lunch and order a sandwich and we'll just keep on working. The ones with a high desire for eating, they will just say no, because that will take all their energy away, all their motivation. So it doesn't work. So you have to be aware of who it's important for with the eating. Physical activity, the desire to exercise your muscles. So it's actually, the people who are out running in the rain, those are the ones who really want to do this because of the exercise. Others can be out running or getting some exercise because they want to look good, because they have a high desire for beauty, or because they are running in a group, because they have a high desire for social contact, or anything. So the same behavior can come from different motives, and that's the important thing. And the last one is tranquility, and that's the desire for emotional calm, to have a surrounding that's calm, not sitting in an open landscape at your office, because that will stress you. You need to have the calm surroundings to be able to cope with it. If you have a low desire for emotional calm, you can be wherever. You will never be stressed, and it's nothing for you. So, what's so good about Reiss motivation profile? There are so many models on the market about personality tests and this the DISC method and the colors and everything. And I have chosen to work with this model because of some things, and I will tell you why here. So for the first, it's about understanding yourself and others in relation to each other. I will come to that later, yes. So that's the important thing, how you act when you integrate with others, right? Secondly, I think it's very important that you are looking behind behaviors. The other methods, most often they look on the behaviors, and you can choose your behavior. When I look at this the DISC method, I'm like a little red and a little yellow and a little blue and a little green, and so then it doesn't help me. No. So this is much more specific. It's sharper, and it looks behind the behaviors. And as I said, the same behavior can come from so many different motives. And when you have a conflict, the reason for the conflict can very often be found in the motives behind the behavior. And an example of that is me and my husband has always gathered the family for a dinner with the kids every day, and we have thought it's so important to have this moment together. He does that because for him it's important with the eating. He wants to pass it on to his children and to share the eating moment with them, because he has a high desire for eating. On my behalf, it's because I have a high desire to take care of my children. So I want to have this moment because the family is important. So there we have the same behavior from different motives, and it's all good. But when we get into a conflict at the table, my husband, he just keeps eating. The food is the same, but for me, it's all destroyed. The reason is gone. So that's important, I think. With this understanding, you can motivate yourself and your co-workers. And then another good example of this is when once when I had a day when I just lost my energy, my motivation. Me and my husband had just dropped off our youngest son for a hockey game, and we went to a cafe to wait for the game to start. And I had received some emails and texts that made me feel like, oh, I can just stop doing whatever I do, and I just felt so bad. And I sat down and I thought, okay, Petra, so what motivates me? And I know, okay, it's social contacts, it's family, and it's idealism. So I looked at my husband, I laughed a little, and I said to him that, so much social contacts, not so much social contacts here in the cafe. It was almost empty. And family, the children are not here, we're alone, so I would not find it there. But idealism. So I'll have to say the world. And I took my computer out, and I started to write, to design a training that I would give, leadership training for coaches in the hockey. So then I felt that I would contribute to better leadership for these young hockey players. And that made my day. So very soon I found my motivation, my energy came back, and I was just as glad as ever. Yeah. So another thing that I think is very good is that here you can see that you shift your focus from it's good or bad to it's neutrally different. And I think that's comfort and a guidance. We have a way of thinking in our society that there are some behaviors that are good and some are bad. And when you don't fit in, you will feel bad. But when you look at this, you will see that when you have had this profile, these motives from the start of your life and from your first 14 years, they will just be as they are. And when you have them written down on a paper in front of you, you have like taking them out of you and putting them on the paper, and you can just look at it objectively. So you now know that people don't do things because they are stupid or they have lack of interest. It's just because they have other motives. So now we will look at an example of a profile. And by the way, this is mine. I think you can recognize the top of it. So this is how it looks like, all the 16 motives. And as I said before, one of the good things about this model is that you see how your motives are compared to others. And this scale here is like a normal distribution, like this. So in this orange part in the middle here, it's when you have your motive here, you will be like anyone else, like most other people, I'd say. So so when you are in the dark blue field, your motives would be stronger than most other people's. And when you're light blue, it will be weaker than most others. So that means that, for example, if we're looking at family, I will take away this. If we are looking at family, if you are in the middle, you can imagine that taking care of your children is pretty important for most people. So if you are in the middle, it will still be important. It only says that it's just as important as it is to most others. So when you are like me, pretty dark blue here, I'm more like extreme. And if you are on the other side, and it says here unattached, it doesn't mean that it's not important. It means that it's less important than for most others. Okay? Yeah. So you follow me on that scale?
Quite understandable.
Yeah, good. So then you have the other one, where the scale from the top to the bottom, and that shows how I prioritize my motives, where I can see that the social content, family, idealism are the most important for me, and independence, saving, tranquility are the least important. So I can have a profile where I don't have any dark blue motives at all, and that does not mean that I don't have any motives. It just means that I don't have anything that motivates me more than everybody else. But I can still look at this scale and see what's on top, what's most important for me. Yeah. So you can as well put the profile together with two people, and I have written partners here. It could be a couple, but mostly, of course, I work in the business area, so it could be people working together. So this is a profile on two guys who were going to start a company together. And we looked at their motives, and you can see that, for example, on power, one guy will take the lead. That's very obvious. Maybe they can agree on there are certain areas where the other person takes lead. For example, if we look down and we see here, where do we have? Where is beauty? There is beauty. So you see the second guy has a lot stronger motive for beauty. That means that maybe he will take the decisions and take lead when it comes to beauty issues. So you have to, the motives are combined.
You have to connect them together.
Yes, actually, exactly. And the scale here, when you look at two people, is not so much if they are dark blue or light blue or how they prioritize. It's about the gap. How big is the gap between them? You can see on order, for example, they are both pretty low on order, but the one who is highest or least low, he will be the one taking care of the structure, because he will be the one noticing it and having the bigger need. Yeah. So what else? We can see that one of them is it's much more important with eating, and he will see too that they have their office in a surrounding where you have good restaurants around you, for example. And the other person, he has to respect that he cannot just jump over the lunch or anything. Tranquility, they are both pretty alike on tranquility, and I would say that's pretty good. That means that they will understand each other and they will be not so stressed, and it could mean that they will take risks. That could be bad. We don't know. Look at saving. They're not so high on saving, either one of them, so that could be a problem for them. So it's very, very good that they talk about this and that they are aware of it. So you can as well put a whole team together and combine their profiles. So here, for example, we can see in this team, it's very clear that social contact is very important for everyone in the team. And that can mean that that they will have very long coffee breaks, for example, because they love chattering and being social and stuff like that. So it's good to be aware of that. When you're aware of it, you can take care of it by, for example, letting them work together in a team, in an open workspace, and a lot of integration and fun stuff to do. And yeah. And then they will have a little shorter coffee breaks, probably. Yeah.
So is it a good thing then overall to have team members that share similar motivators?
That is a very good question. Some values, some motives can be easier if they share, and some of them can be a catastrophe if they share. So I would say that it depends on the motives, it depends on the situation, and the individuals and the management, the leadership, and everything. So the good thing is to be aware of who is what, and that you as a manager is aware of it, and that the team is aware of it. So I think I will go back to it's not good or bad, it's just different. We can also see here that this team, they have a low desire for tranquility, and as I said, they can sit in an open workspace. If there had been one person in the team with a high desire for tranquility, and as they are so social, everyone, that means that you will probably have to take care of giving that person some personal space. But these ones, they will take risks. They will be not stressed over things. What else? You can see here, this is interesting. You can see on power, there is one person that is much higher on the power motive than the others. And that is the person who will take the lead, who will take the decisions. But here is a conflict, because you have one person here with a very high desire for vengeance. And that means that it's important for that person to be right and to win, and even to look for conflicts, to have a battle, to have a chance to win. Yes. So that can mean that it's a conflict for the other person who wants to lead. The acceptance motive. You have one person who has a strong need for acceptance, and the other ones, they have to be aware of that. Because since they are so low, it is very easy that they kind of just throw things at each other, that you can do this better, and please sharpen up. And this second person here will be, it will hurt. It's not good. That person will not be in his or her potential in the team if the others doesn't think about what they do. Okay, I think we'll leave the team profiles. So this model is a very good thing to use, to be aware of the motives that you have in your team. And here are some examples from Maggie, who is, I told you that Reiss is the founder of the model. And unfortunately, he's not longer with us, but his wife is, and she continues to work with his model. And she has written down one example for every motive, how you can think to keep your employees. I've picked just a few examples here, and the best thing is to take the team and let themselves write down what makes me what makes me bloom, and what makes me not bloom, down, yeah, what makes me feel bad. So that's the best. So, for example, if you have an employee with a strong need for independence, don't put a person in a team where decisions are made by consensus. Okay, so we started out with talking about or asking us the question, which motivator makes people take part in disruptive changes? That's following digitalization. And now we know it is not one motivator. It's not one motive. It's different for everyone. And you have to find out what motivates each and everyone in your team. If you want to read more, you can read here on rmpnordic.se. And here you can find all the research. This model has been well researched, and I don't have time to go into that here, but please read yourselves and see. So to wrap this speech up, I want to give you the same question as from the beginning, but with your new knowledge. So I will give you 10 seconds in silence and think about what motivates you, what makes you happy. And thanks for listening to me. And if you have any questions, or if you want to just reflect on something, don't hesitate to contact me on email or phone, or I have a Facebook site as well. If you want to read my book, if you know Swedish, I have a link here, but the easiest way is to email me and I will mail you the link back. It's so many letters to copy here. And if you want to have your own profile done, you just contact me. I will help you. Thank you for today.